easy access to your gear. Stay prepared for any situation with our high-quality medical supplies, designed to keep you ready for action at all times. Solution for top-notch protection and performance in the field. Our armor bundles provide unmatched safety and comfort, while our battle belts and holsters ensure quick and easy access to your gear. Stay prepared for any situation with our high-quality medical supplies, designed to keep you ready for action at all times. Looking to enhance your skills? Our firearms training programs will take your proficiency to the next level. Trust LT Defense for all your tactical gear needs and gear up for success on the battlefield.
This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Make it clear that the views expressed by our host are not considered the official stance of NBR views. Remember, this is all about having fun and enjoying the ride.
Find us on the web at nbradio.us.
Hello, everybody. This is Red here at Red's Roundtable, and today we're going to have Miss Tara with us, and we are so happy she's here. We're going to let her introduce herself here in just a moment. Remember, this is the Freedom from Struggle show. This is for anybody with any type of hurt, habit, or hang-up. Like I said, I'm Red, attend and help lead a Celebrate Recovery group at First Baptist Church in Biloxi, Mississippi, and but there's CR groups going all over town. I mean, all over the nation. And you can find a location to you by going to celebraterecovery.com or simply or downloading the CR app on your phone, your iPhone or Android. You can also download the MBR app where you can take advantage of seeing all of our shows, because we have many. We have several channels, and we're being viewed on many, many platforms throughout the availability that you find. But Tara, I want to welcome you to the show, Freedom from Struggle at Red's Roundtable. I know you wear many different hats in recovery land and in faith-based type recovery programs. Introduce yourself, please.
Sure. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tara Tucker, and I am a behavioral health community paramedic at Cape Fear Valley Health System.
All right. And I know you said you have many, you do wear many hats. And I guess that's your primary position, right?
That is my primary position. Other positions keep me busy too. So we'll talk about some of the other work I do when we get into some of this.
Okay. All right. Well, look, I'm going to let you, you said you had a little presentation stuff you'd share with us. Folks, I just want you to remember that Celebrate Recovery is a unique place, okay? It's a safe and secure place. And while this show's not a Celebrate Recovery show, I'm just affiliated with it. And I love it. And it's done so much good for myself and hundreds of thousands, million other people. It's been around since the mid 90s. And I just want to share the first 3 steps because we always go by a 12-step program. And at Celebrate Recovery, our steps are very much like other recovery programs, except we also put a biblical comparison to the step. Tara, can you read the screen?
I can.
Okay. Well, look, can you read the first step to us, and I'll come up with a biblical comparison right after?
Sure. So step 1 is we admitted we were powerless over our addictions and compulsive behaviors, that our lives had become unmanageable.
And the biblical comparison is, I know that nothing good lives in me, that is, in my sinful nature. For I have the desire to do what is good, but I cannot carry it out. And that's from Romans 7:18. How about step 2?
Step 2, we came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity.
For it is God who works in you to will and to act according to his good purpose. Philippians 2:13. And then step 3, and then we'll be done with it.
All right. Step 3, we made a decision to turn our lives and our wills over to the care of God.
Therefore, I urge you, brothers, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as living sacrifices, holy and pleasing to God. This is your spiritual act of worship, Romans 12:1. And folks, I just always find it so important to share that. Those first 3 steps are so important, okay? And once you got to get out of denial, realizing you can't do it yourself, you need a higher power. And of course, being faith-based, we know that higher power is God. And these 2 steps, actually, from other recovery programs, come from the Bible. And this is the one and only way to truly get over everything, for you to have the best life you can have and have an eternal life with that peace and of surrender. Look, Tara, I want you to go ahead and you can start sharing with us. If you need to throw a slide up, that's fine. Like I said, we probably got about 7 or 8 minutes before we have to take our first break. But look, go ahead. And if you want me to step in, just let me know.
Sure.
All right, Tara.
So can you see the slides? I don't know if you have to share.
I can now.
There we go.
We can now.
All right. So I don't know why that's a little off-centered, but anyway, it's not in the real one. So this is just kind of a picture of where our hospital is. We're in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And just a few things about our healthcare system. We are actually located in a really large military community. 15% of our county is military affiliated, whether that's active duty or veterans. And it does make a difference when we try to get people help around mental health and substance use. So that's why I always point those out. We have the 3rd busiest EMS system in North Carolina. It is busy in Cumberland County. I can tell you that. And actually this on the latest poll, we're actually in the top 8 busiest EDs, the emergency departments in the nation. So it is busy. That is the big thing that I like to point out with this slide. The behavioral health community paramedic team. So community paramedicine is a newer concept in EMS. A lot of the teams were designed to focus on medical issues that cause people to be readmitted back into the hospital. I was fortunate. My background was in mental health and substance use prior to becoming a paramedic. And as many of you probably know, when people went to get help for mental health or substance use issues, obviously both are often combined together or co-occurring, as we call them. They couldn't get the help they need, right? So some of the community paramedic programs across the nation, especially in North Carolina, are starting to be geared now towards mental health and substance use. So at our hospital, we actually have a medical community paramedic team, and then our behavioral health community paramedic team. So as you can see, our team has 4 community paramedics, a social worker, and then a peer support specialist, which is somebody with that lived experience. It helps to have a person that's been there, right? And then we focus on overdoses. We try to follow up after 911 calls. Obviously, it's nice if we can get people as close to that 911 call as possible. Sorry, my battery may die. I got it plugged up, so if I
Well, hey, we Tara might be having just a little problems, obviously, as you can see coming up. But the big thing is Tara is a one of those first responders working with EMS, and we're always happy to have someone like that on the show. And listen, this show it's a veterans, okay, it's a veterans channel, Military Broadcast Radio, giving veterans a voice. Veterans like myself able to give a voice, and then for other veterans to hear. But it's for everyone: first responders, your doctors, the emergency room workers, EMS, fire departments. It's for everyone. Just like this show, we have Freedom from Struggle. It is this is for anyone, because anyone can have some type of hurt, habit, or hang up. Okay, it's not limited to just military guys or military women. It's or even males or first responder workers. This is for every single person that is able to hear the show. That you can share about the show to other people. And like myself, I've suffered from several different habits, hang-ups, drinking, several mental health issues, to include anxiety and depression. And listen, it's a real deal, and you do not ever have to be afraid to tell somebody else about it, because that's just like when we work the 12 steps. We can't keep the things bottled up inside us. We cannot stay secretive about it. Okay, we got to let it out. We got to let somebody else know we have our problem. And it looks like Tara has made it back, and we're going to try to bring her back up on the screen just like we were. Okay.
Oh, I don't know what we don't.
Tara, have we got you? We got
anyway,
you.
We try to focus on overdoses and follow up on those calls after an overdose. Suicide related calls are really big passion of mine, because I know people get taken to the hospital, but nobody always looks at what was the real root of the problem, and right. Then works on that. If it's financial issues or relationship issues, they're not going to be resolved after they get out of the hospital, right? And then youth-related mental health and substance use calls, if we can intervene earlier, we've got a better chance with our youth. And I know that from being on the mental health side. So I really want us to, to look at those kids and, look at a lot of them with the homes they're in. When we run that post-overdose call, if there's kids in that home, we know they're already at risk. So trying to do some early intervention is really important to me. And then our EMS crews are really good at making EMS referrals to us as well. And they see mental health or substance issues they think we could help with. Then it really takes all of us working together. That's the important thing.
Right.
Beyond that, we actually have really worked to build a lot of partnerships in the community. And I think this is key. It's not the typical way that EMS works, but my background was in case management, and I'm used to being out in the community and engaging partners and working together. We all bring our different strengths to the table. There's different financial resources we can bring to the table. So if we start looking at that whole person and trying to help people and put the supports in place, then that I feel is really important. And we know the research says that's important. So one of the things that we have started doing is a monthly mobile outreach event. It's the third Thursday every month. So I believe in listening to the people with lived experience. And
hey, is that a good stopping point for right now? Let's go to Let's go to a break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about what are we going to talk about right when we come back?
Our mobile outreach events.
Okay. All right. We'll come right back to that. Okay. Thanks. And I'm glad you were able to get back on camera. Okay. It worked out fine. Yeah. Here we go.
It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's the line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Hey. From the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana, to the golden coast of California, Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop, and his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's the line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on the front line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, pay the ultimate price. Oh. He was the man of the house when he was born. His family is proud but torn. But if you knew him, you would understand. He was raised on how to be brave, just to see the flag still wave. And then he came home with only one hand. 'Cause Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, hear the line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on these front lines. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, he'll pay the ultimate price. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down his life. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. March in line, march in line. Hey. Hey.
Please join Military Broadcast Radio, Fairway Travel, and the Just Go Travel Show for a Veterans Day cruise. We'll be sailing on the Carnival Magic out of the Port of Miami for a 6-day Eastern Caribbean voyage from November 10th through November 16th, 2024. This Veterans Day, honor your service with an unforgettable escape aboard the Carnival Magic. From relaxing days at sea to thrilling onboard activities, there's something for everyone. Connect with others who have shared your journey and create memories that will last a lifetime. Enjoy top-notch dining, live entertainment, and breathtaking views as we sail to paradise. Our itinerary departs from Miami, spend a day at Half Moon Cay, followed up by a relaxing day at sea. Then Amber Cove, where we follow it up with a day at Grand Turk. We then get to have another relaxing sea day before heading back to Miami to finish our fantastic voyage. Join us from as low as $574 per person based on double occupancy for an incredible journey at sea. Create the memories that will last a lifetime on a journey to celebrate with your family and friends. Contact Fairway Travel today to book your spot. We can be reached at 228-365-1012. That's 228-365-1012, or simply email bookitnow247@gmail.com. That's bookitnow247@gmail.com. Just go.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Hey, we're back with you, and we're going to continue talking with Miss Tara. Tara, continue sharing with us.
Sure. All right. Trying to find our slides here. Here we go. All right, so we're going to talk about our monthly mobile outreach. I think it's really important to try to meet the needs of people where they are in the community and try to prevent people from having to call 911, right? Like if we can meet those basic needs they have out in the community and it's not a medical emergency, we should really work together and try to do that. So every month, our community partners and the community paramedics, a group called Broken Chains I'll talk a little bit about with, it's just a whole host of community partners. We come together and try to serve our community. Some of that is offering haircuts. It may be offering testing for Hep C, HIV, blood pressure checks, just a wide variety of things, fun activities. But it's a great time, you know, for everybody to get together and know that people care about them. So many people that are longing for recovery, I think, don't really have people that care about them in their life. So we want them to know that we care. So these are just some more of the pictures from the outreach, so you can see the different kind of partners that we have there. It actually is partnered with a church. We hosted at the church. They have a huge area for us. A lot of our partners have buses, so it works. It's a great space that works. We try to feed them, as you can see. You know, I think I guess I was raised up in the church and in the Baptist world, we don't go hungry, right? So,
No, we do not.
So one of our partners, this is how the partnerships works. One of the churches actually gets a discount at the grocery store. Another partner has a grant for food, so she pays for it. And then our Broken Chains folks actually cook the food and serve it while we're at the outreach. So you can just see the way that, you know, we're all working together. And, you know, for me, it's just being creative, and it's a great way to bring that faith community in to be a part of this, which is huge to me. You know, I don't think I grew up in the faith community, going to a Christian school. And I remember when you got caught drinking or using drugs, you got kicked out of school. And I take on the attitude that that's the time people need us to love them the most, right? And help them find their way. So I really enjoy this piece of the work that we do. These are some of the bikers that we work with called Broken Chains. A lot of those folks have lived experience. They're in recovery, and most of them either go to CR or to what some of the churches have switched to Recovery Alive, which is another 12-step program that's faith-based and Christ-centered. So it's just fun working together.
Tara, now I know you've got this ministry going on over there in where you're at. You know, of course, you're working EMS. You're part of Celebrate Recovery. You're part of Broken Chains. You're part of bringing them all together. Is this type stuff going on all over the nation, or is there a way where somebody can get this going in their area? Should they comment here, or should they email you for more information?
So that they can do either one. And we actually, I can get this. I don't know if we can get out to them later, but there's a link that we've started for Broken Chains for people that are interested in doing that.
Right. Okay.
So let's talk about that piece, because I think that's important.
Okay.
We started this in Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is where the founder, Jeff Stoltz, is from. And I truly believe God called me to Fayetteville. I drive 2.5 hours to get to work. Okay. So I believe this is my ministry and my mission of what I'm supposed to do. And Jeff and I met at an outreach. I went to their Hope Dealer Conference, which is their first ever conference that they had this year, and talked about the work that we were doing. And so it's funny that you say that. All these states started saying, hey, we want to do this too. Right. God's opened up some doors. I've been able to speak at some different national
EMS
conferences.
great minds think together. They think alike. I mean, you know
Yes.
what I mean? We're brothers and sisters for a reason. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No. It makes sense, right? I mean, EMS people are everywhere. Broken Chains is actually an international organization. And so it just makes sense to me for us to partner together and work on this. And I mean, I say all the time, we're better together. So for me, Broken Chains is like having a group of peer specialists, those people with lived experience that have proven to be effective, right? We've done research on peer specialists. And so after that conference, everybody, we had different states start saying, hey, we want to do this. And then God opened doors up for me to be at EMS conferences. And I was talking about the work that we're doing. And other states were saying, hey, we'd like to get involved in this too. So because of all the interest that we've had, Broken Chains actually made me their national community engagement director so that I can help coordinate this work in other states and say, hey, here's how we've been doing this, right? Like I mentioned, we have a large veteran base and active duty military connected folks in Cumberland County. So just this week, God's been opening up doors for national veteran organizations. And I believe that's another piece that we're supposed to bring into this.
Sure.
So, it was kind of all great time. And I believe God makes all these things happen. You asked me about being on here. The veterans start talking about that. One of the guys that works for those organizations is a new member of Broken Chains, and he had no clue what all we were doing, right? But it impacts his work as well, just like with mine. So it's been a great partnership. And yes, if people are interested, they can reach out, and they can always find us on Broken Chains website, brokenchainsjc.com. So,
and also on Facebook, I believe, right? Can you see that on Facebook? Can people
yeah.
do that on
Yes.
Facebook? Okay.
They can.
Okay.
They can.
Well, I'm a fairly new member with Broken Chains, but I feel blessed to have gotten affiliated with them, and I've been watching them for the past 2 years, and finally I just took that, said, hey, look, I'm going to look at that application and become one. Right? I wasn't a biker, but I'm a biker enthusiast, and buddy, I'm a hope dealer already, and so. It just comes about, and I said, well, I need to contact them, and you don't have to be a biker to be a part, right?
That is correct. I was not a biker when I joined Broken Chains, and actually, I didn't really join Broken Chains. Broken Chains asked me to be an honorary member, and that's how this started because of the work, and I really believe they could see that God was leading in all this, right? It is definitely not about me. It is about what God's like bringing together. And it's like a puzzle. He's bringing the pieces together.
Amen.
One of the things that I saw at the Hope Dealer Conference that I went to that has just been really cool to bring back is, let's see, I don't know if y'all can see these, but these are little Jesus. Y'all may have seen this all over the internet now. But we give out little Jesus, and you would be amazed at how much that makes a difference in our patients. EMS week, I had these sitting out on the counter for our crews. I went over to the hospital and set them on the counters over there. And every time I went back, they were all gone, and I'd restock them and they would get gone. And so, now I had people asking, hey, how'd I get one of those little Jesus? So it's all kind of little things. Jeff and them have the red rags you see there that they hand out with Broken Chains. It has the full version of the Serenity Prayer on it. And they tell people when they're passing these out at our events, this is for the little messes, and we use Jesus for the big messes. So it's just little things to get conversations started with people. And it's funny that you bring up the Hope Dealer piece. Before I ever met Jeff, I had this EMS shirt that I had worked on designing that said Hope Dealer, and it had the EMS star of life in it and a heart. And then I met Jeff, and he had the whole Hope Dealer thing, and I was like, yeah, this is just too ironic, right? Like we know why we were put together. So
right on, yes.
But the other thing I try to stress with EMS and with my mental health and substance use providers is we focus so much on getting people to treatment, but what do we do with people when they leave treatment? If you don't have a support system when you leave treatment, we know that I mean, for me, it's a no-brainer. They say people come in here all the time to the emergency department. They call 911 over and over and over again, and I ask, what have you give them that's a realistic solution to help them? If at best you get them in the ED, and then you send them to a treatment center for maybe 3 to 5 days, and you put folks right back into that same environment. I said, think of a tree that's not doing well in this soil over here, and it's just about to die. And then you put them over here in some good soil, give it fertilizer, water, sunlight, and it starts flourishing. And then you think about, would you move that tree back to that old soil? No, you wouldn't. But that's exactly what we do when people leave a treatment facility, and we stick them right back into the same environment, their house that they were in before, maybe where people were using or no support system. So broken chains is a piece of that, right? They are
Right.
one component of that recovery support. CR and RA meetings are another piece of that. So
Well,
we're
Tara, you know, you're saying that when you really get into that, this is just like it is in the veterans community. Okay,
yes.
say, or even, listen, this goes out to everybody, because if I've got a problem, and you know, even if you're sick, you go to the VA, and say it's a mental health issue, say it's an addiction issue, say it's, you know, say maybe you've lost an arm or a leg, you know, or I've got a really good friend that I've met recently through military broadcast radio, and I'm helping her with a podcast, and she was blinded about 12, 14 years ago, and you know, had they not, and they still haven't shared everything that she can be a part of, you know. But if I come in there and they just get my mind right on a mental health issue, and you know, whether you stay there a day or two or they just give you some medication, if they just throw you out, we really hadn't helped any. All we've done is put a little band-aid on something, and we need to carry that out and provide opportunities for people, you know, just such as CR meetings, AA meetings, belonging to certain groups, and to help them grow, to help them really heal. And that's why I'm glad you said that. It applies to everybody.
It does. And so like we work with Blind Veterans Association, we work with Veteran Services of the Carolinas, and I stress that to them as well. What are we going to do to build this support system for people? So now we've started planning what we call fun recovery, and what are the fun activities that we can do, right? And I tell folks, I say, if I had to go to 60 meetings in 60 days or 90 meetings in 90 days, I'd be right back like in that situation, because that's like listening to group therapy over and over, you know, like a lot of days. And that's, for me, that's draining. But you send me to a fun activity.
I spoke to a guy yesterday, and he ended up getting incarcerated, you know, for one reason or another. But he came out of there, and they offered him probation, you know, and this other stuff. And you know, that he was sober and all that type stuff. I mean, he was free of anything. Of course, he'd been incarcerated, but he came out there, and he said, I want to do drug court. He wanted the probation. He wanted to be accountable every day, and how he has to talk with them every single day. And I'm like, wow. But listen, he's doing so well, and but he's being kept accountable by calling in, find out when he's got to do another test, or going in, you know, to receive just a little counseling, or to say, hey, I've gone to this or that. He doesn't have to report that he's been to meetings, but he goes to 2 or 3, 4 different meetings a week, and he's just serious about it, and a hard worker, and he's really dedicated. If we could get everybody like that, how awesome would that be? And
right.
But I'm like you. I don't see how somebody can commit to doing it every day. That's probably better than I can do. I know that.
Right. But if we build a calendar that has something fun on it to do every month, or every day, and a meeting, and you can pick and choose what appeals to you, right? And this is where I tell the faith community that, you know, you look at your church. We have over 400 churches in Cumberland County. Look at how much talent is in your church. If it's somebody teaching a photography class or teaching somebody how to make a birdhouse, there's something that people in your church can offer, right?
Get plugged in, right?
Yes. And I think the faith community just doesn't look at, like, what are things we could offer, even veterans, like what are their skills they could bring to the table that help people, you know. And I think it's just key. My background, I was a recreation therapist when I started all this, and I worked inpatient, and people, you know, we would talk about how many hours a week do you spend doing whatever this negative behavior is, whether it's drinking or using drugs or whatever. And it would be hours, right? And I would say, look, how much time do you spend doing fun activities? They would tell me some really small number. I said, look, that was your fun activities, and now you're going to have to replace that with different people that you do things with, and with different activities. You know, their support system was all tied up around people that used or drank or whatever the negative behavior is. I mean, that's the thing I really enjoy about CR and RA is it's not just focused on addiction, right? It's hurts, habits, and hang-ups. So
Right.
whether that's anger issues or, like whatever it is, you can come and have a support group of people. Jeff said he didn't, after he got saved, he didn't want to give up his biker lifestyle. And
Right.
really, why did he have to? If he could find some sober people that were also faith-based, you don't really have to give up that activity you love to do. So
Well, it looks like he might have found several people, judging by the Facebook group.
Yeah.
And I made tons of new friends myself. I've accepted a lot of friend requests, but believe me, when I see those people out there, and I've like, especially if I see something in them, I'm like, man, let me friend that person, because that's who I want in my life. That's who I want
Right.
around me.
Mhm.
And good things in, good things out, being with a good crowd, man, you can't hardly beat that,
I look forward to it. I mean, Monday night, I'm gonna. People would probably think I'm crazy, but I'm gonna drive 2.5 hours to a meeting in Fayetteville Monday, and then head down to Wilmington after that to hear a guy share his story. He's a new member of Broken Chains and
Right.
in recovery, and he said, "Will you come hear my story?" And to me, that's the part that keeps me going, right, and keep me motivated.
Right.
Hear the stories and know there's different ways we can make a difference. You mentioned the jail and prison piece. Like, I think that's another area that we're starting to get into. One of the guys has been able to ride his motorcycle into the prison system. Like,
oh my goodness.
Right. To share the gospel and to ride your motorcycle in there. Like that's just amazing to me.
Right. That is.
Like I say, it's just all kind of doors that are being opened up. We'll talk about some more of those when we come back from the next break.
Okay. Thanks, Tara. We certainly will.
Attention, all troops. Are you ready to stay connected with the latest news, entertainment, and information tailored for our armed services? Look no further than MBR.
Here at MBR, we're more than just a radio station. We're a lifeline for those who served from the front lines to the home front. We're here to keep you informed, entertained, and connected to your fellow veterans.
With our dedicated team of broadcasters, we bring exclusive interviews with military leaders, insights into the latest strategies and technologies, and uplifting stories of bravery and sacrifice.
But that's not all. MBR is a nonprofit organization, meaning that every dollar you donate goes directly towards supporting our troops and their families, whether it's providing care packages, funding, scholarships, or offering mental health resources. Your support makes a difference.
With that, H-Train, can you tell me a little bit about how MBR got started?
Well, in 2005, Jim Butler created it so that he could keep contacts with all of his pals over in Iraq. And then when 2018 came, he decided that it was time for him to retire. He was going to close up the station. And because we've had so many former DJs since 2005, I mean, it was pretty inspiring. We have at least 5 veterans in every single state, at least.
Awesome.
And, it just brings us closer together. It creates a family, and it creates a family that we lost when we got back from Iraq.
And remind you that every show is manned by a veteran or a first responder. That's amazing. I love what MBR is doing here. I love being a DJ here as well. Talk to people who have been through situations similar to yours. You're not alone. That's what we do here on MBR.
Yep. And it's nice because if you're not having a radio day and you're just having a bad day,
or you don't have a face for radio, we just want to remind you that every show is manned by a veteran or a first responder. So if you've ever had a dog tag, you could be possibly on the show or create your own, as well as military dependents. Together, we'll stay strong, we stay informed, we stay connected. So visit our website and download our app today, MBR.
MBR, serving those who served while giving veterans a voice.
Brandon Stokely here, and I want to encourage every single one of y'all to keep grinding, keep fighting, keep practicing, keep getting those reps in, because that's what's important, right? Keep building, laying down that foundation, and keep working at it, keep practicing. No matter what the results you see right now, it doesn't matter what's going on right now. Look towards the future, and that's what it's all about. So keep working hard, keep practicing, keep getting those reps, and that's what's most important right now. So keep up the good work. Best of luck.
expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Welcome back, Miss Tara, my sister. What else do we have to share with us? You gonna continue on with what we were talking about?
Sure. All right, so that's some of the things that we've done with broken chains. Let me see. I think I have on the next slide here. Sometimes people are curious about what we do on a post-overdose response call. One thing that's really important to me is looking at those social determinants of health. What do people need if they're going to be successful with recovery? One is if we're going to help them get to CR, recovery alive meetings, they've got to have some kind of transportation, whether that's people taking them, if that's connecting them with their Medicaid or other healthcare benefits. Some of those have transportation benefits people don't know about. If it's a bus ticket, I mean, think about how are people going to get to these things that we're telling them they need to go to. And then cell phones. If I'm going to make an appointment with a provider, I've got to have a phone to be able to contact them. And if they want to change that appointment, they got to have a way to contact me. So getting people connected to cell phones are really important. And those are just some things, again, typical paramedics don't think about, right? If they don't do this work. We do a substance use assessment, so trying to figure out what level of treatment people need. Sometimes it's going into a home, right? Like some of the faith communities, they have housing. I always ask people what they're looking for, but thinking about what type of treatment they're going to. And I tell people I'm the Bob Ross. When it comes to treatment, I want to give you a whole palette, and you can pick and choose and make your pretty little trees the colors that you want them and the design you want them. My choices, my job is to give you options and help you make educated decisions, right? So a lot of these things are really, we offer a lot in that post-overdose call to show people that we care. Sometimes it's just giving them food and my phone number and saying, I'm here when you get ready. Maybe they're not ready yet. That brings me to the next thing, harm reduction. So this is a concept I think people are not always open to. And I think it's because they lack the education. They don't understand harm reduction. When we put seatbelts in cars and airbags in cars, guess what? We started seeing the fatal car crashes decrease. So when we start putting harm reduction measures in people's lives, we've seen the overdose deaths actually decrease. So one of those is Narcan. That's something people are familiar with. Narcan is like what you said a while ago, and I tell people is it's like putting a Band-Aid on something, right, that still needs the sutures. So it's just that temporary fix to keep them alive till we can get them what they really do need. I teach people about Never Use Alone hotline, right? So with the Never Use Alone hotline, and people may think this is crazy, you call and stay on the phone with them. If the line goes silent, they've got your address and all that information first, kind of like 911 does, and they send 911 to that scene to see if you're okay or if you overdose. And it has saved lives. So I signed up to be a paramedic. It wasn't I only signed up to use like these things. It's to save lives in other ways as well, right? So these are things that save lives. Our harm reduction, so there's harm reduction providers all over the country. They pass out those clean needles and the supplies to help people use safely so they don't end up with deadly infections. And it also sends a message to people, hey, somebody really cares about you. But it's kind of like what you said with your friend a while ago. It's somebody for them to come check in with. And if they decide they want to go to treatment, you've built, a lot of this is based on building relationships. You've built that relationship. They start to trust you. And now they say, let's talk about some treatment options. What are my choices that I could go to? And it shows that people that are engaged in syringe service programs actually are 5 times more likely to go to treatment. So it's really more to me than just syringe services. It's showing people that we care. It's offering them some compassion. They may give them food. They may give them toiletries. It's just a bigger piece to that. Same thing with the testing. There's a common myth that people that use drugs don't care about their health. And that is really not true. They do care. They just know that so many times the healthcare community has been judgmental to them and hasn't offered these things. And then Addiction Drug Council of North Carolina actually offers a line where you if you decide you're ready to get help, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, they have that line staffed. So they try to help people, and they know resources all over, and they work on how to get people transported there. So if you're not ready to stop using, I at least am going to give you these things and say, hey, I care about you. You know, along with the phone numbers for our team, we give that out as well. So I think it's important to send that message. Like I said, the whole and we've had to teach the faith community. Broken Chains is a piece of that faith community. We've had to teach them why these things are important and to think differently, right? Another thing that these are some of the different things that we do with Broken Chains. As you can see, there are lots of options. It really is just being creative and thinking outside the box. And you know, how can you partner with any partner? We have a suicide prevention partner that we do a lot with, and she's one that pays for the food. We have a lot of different partners, over 70 different agencies that we partner with. So lots of partners. Narcan distribution is important. We actually get Narcan, and it's pretty cool that Broken Chains actually created those stickers for their motorcycles that say "I carry Narcan," and then patches are a big deal in the biker world. So they've created this one that actually says "I carry Narcan," and have actually saved lives using the Narcan, right? So doing the training, but taking Narcan from somebody that looks like Jeff, who's in the picture right there, is different than taking it from me in my uniform, right? And now this is a common thing. People say, I don't use and I don't need Narcan. Well, we still need to get Narcan out there, because if you're using and you need Narcan, you're not at a point where you can give it to yourself. So that's why we've got to educate the community for everybody to carry Narcan. And so they help spread that message with us. It's been pretty cool that I never imagined we would have a sticker that says "I carry Narcan," and a patch. I mean, it's just pretty cool. We were sitting in a suicide prevention forum, one of my partners and I, one day, and so I send this picture to the media guy for Broken Chains, and I said, "You think we could turn this into a patch?" And as you can see, they turned it into a patch. And when we had the Hope Dealer Conference this year, it was the only patch to sell out. We realized then, when I spoke, people came up to me afterwards telling me their story and how they had been impacted by their own suicide attempt, right? And it was just amazing how many people had been impacted by suicide. And we really didn't plan on that piece. And can we share a link in here too? Is that possible? If we can share a link, we actually are doing a suicide prevention ride, first one ever, for Suicide Prevention Month and Recovery Month. We also threw in their overdose awareness, because it's just hard not to do this work with that. And so people can actually bring photos of their loved ones that have died by suicide or overdose, and we will wear bracelets with different people's names on them. You can submit your family member or loved one's name, and we will wear bracelets with those names on them that day to honor those that we have lost, but hopefully to save some lives too. So we'll have vendors there, different agencies, and I'm hoping folks will learn more of the resources that are available to them. Those veteran organizations will be there, because we know suicide impacts that veteran population, and active duty as well. We run those calls in 911 world, so I know that those are issues. Another thing that we've really partnered to do, and we have a number of partners in our community that do this, including some veteran organizations, but homeless outreach. So Motorcycle Missionaries is another partner. They paid for all these items. We packed kits for those that are homeless so that we could take out, and again, showing people you care through some food and items to keep them warm in the winter. I think there were the hand warmers in there and gloves and socks. It's stuff that we take for granted every day. When I go do homeless outreach and work with my folks that are homeless, it just makes you appreciate some of the things that you really take for granted.
Right.
So you mentioned the Celebrate Recovery, and that's how, that was my first introduction to Celebrate Recovery, was through Broken Chains. So we now have these cards that have QR codes that show the meetings in the area for
Lovely.
Recovery Alive, Celebrate Recovery, AA, and NA, because I think in the beginning Broken Chains was really focused on you had to be connected to a CR program, but recovery is recovery. And if they're doing faith-based recovery, Christ-centered recovery, that really is what it's all about, is getting more people in. And so some of it is just been a narrow focus. You know, Jeff has a one focus, and you know, before it was about riding motorcycles and celebrate recovery meetings and people sharing their stories. Now bringing the first responder side to the table of this, it's allowed us to branch out even more. Crisis intervention team training is a training that's a 40-hour training for first responders to learn more about mental health, substance use, traumatic brain injuries, and intellectual and developmental disabilities. So we've had them come speak now at CIT and share their stories. We talk about sometimes language. You got to change the language when you're with first responders or even veterans. If you go in and just lead off with Jesus and God, some people shut you out. So let's tell this story about how you've changed. You know, Jeff at one point went into jail over 30 times in 1 year. So the law enforcement officers don't get to see people a lot that have turned their lives around, that were those folks they picked up over and over. The paramedics don't get to see that. And so it's really cool to bring people back into CIT and let them see, hey, people do recover, because I think we have to send that message that people recover. So this has been a pretty cool card. We also have smart recovery in our area and some grief resources. So we have another card that has that on it as well, that Broken Chains created for us. So, you know, it's like I really say, these partnerships together are key, and look at the things that we are doing just by working together. Recovery Alive. So I get a lot of folks connected with our Recovery Alive in Cumberland County, because they provide childcare, they provide a meal, right, and that whole support like we talked about. So it's a night that mom doesn't have to cook. And if you're a single mom, I was a single mom, so if it's a night you don't have to cook, you got somebody to take care of those kids, and you can work on your recovery. I mean, that's important, and we take things like that for granted again. So I said people there that just need a support group, right? They may not have an addiction issue, or may not even have a mental health issue, but they've got something going on, maybe grief, right? Maybe getting out of the military. It's the same way with first responders when they retire, right? So so people need support groups, and we know that. We know that from the calls we run. I like this picture of us because it just shows a fun group of people, and that really is what it is. It's a fun group of people when we're together doing this work. It's a lot different than just sending that paramedic or police officer.
I want to jump in that pitch. I want to jump in that picture with those folks. That's a good looking group,
right?
That's a good looking group of brothers and sisters right there.
And so if you don't want to talk to one of us in the uniform, look at the others. I mean, you know, that might be somebody that you would talk to. And I think it's important to have males and females and, you know, just a whole diverse group of people. Jeff says, you know, he might reach somebody with his tattoos and his beard that I don't reach.
Right.
And I'm okay with that, because to me, it's about that we get somebody help and support, and we help people truly achieve recovery. I mean, like, imagine if every paramedic had the attitude I had, or every firefighter or police officer. We could do so much good, because there's so many of us out there. And I try to tell people, we don't have to do this alone. We've got this whole, I mean, there's 6,000 members of Broken Chains, and I'm sure there's other organizations like this, like Veteran Service of the Carolinas, or our folks at Veterans Blind Association. They're eager to help, right? So there's tons of people in your community. It's just that we've got to think outside the box and figure out, how do we do this as a community together? It looks different in every community. The mental health system's different in every state. So we've got to jump in there. I've been trying to pull in as many national organizations so that I know that, you know, we can replicate as many pieces as possible. Like I say, first responders are in every community. It's just that, so I need somebody out there saying, hey, this girl in North Carolina is doing this different. Will you talk to her? And we'll help figure that out.
If we work together, we can really learn from each other. And that is so. Tara, we're down to about a minute left. If you got last words you'd like to mention, and then we'll start closing.
Sure. So this is one of the first people that I was actually able to connect with Broken Chains. The guy on the side was the paramedic on the truck, and he went to great lengths to get her connected to me. And now in September, she'll be celebrating her 1 year mark for being clean from substances. And during this whole process, she got saved. She goes to Recovery Alive, which started out as Celebrate Recovery when she started going. So, I like to leave people, this message. A person can do incredible things if she or he has enough hope. And sometimes we have to hold that hope for them. And I think we have to be those hope dealers, right? We have to show people there is a way to do this. And I'm going to be there and hold your hand and help, because they just need that person that cares. And if I can't, maybe that Broken Chains person or that veteran or whatever group it is in your community that you can tie back into.
Right. Tara, we appreciate it. And I tell you what, that's why we say keep coming back at those Celebrate Recovery meetings, at these other 12-step recovery meetings. Man, you keep coming back. It works if you work it. All right. Hey, I'm going to share something on the screen real quick. And this is just kind of a closing prayer. But I want to thank our audience. Thank you so much for being with us. And, man, we love meeting you here online. And I know some of you are actually viewing the podcast. Some of you are here to be a radio voice only. And hey, either way is great. We're thankful you're here. And we pray for each person. We want everybody to be blessed. Okay. And just know that you're not in this alone. There's hope dealers all around. We just got living proof that it's out there in North Carolina. I know we got it in Mississippi. And let's get it all over the nation. All right, let me share the screen real quick. And folks if you're in the audience and you're able to view it, hey, you're welcome to say this prayer along with me. It's a serenity prayer, and it's really awesome. And to me, it works it's for every single person. Okay, if you're driving and you're watching this, please do not close your eyes. But we're going to pray. All right, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking, as Jesus did, this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next. Amen. And that's by Reinhold Nabir, or I'm not sure how I'm pretty much slaying the name, but I got that from our Celebrate Recovery app that I use. And look, you can find this thing. That is the Serenity Prayer, the full version, not just the short version, but the short version, that first little bit. It works, boy, if you say it and you realize and you understand it in your mind and your heart. Tara, once again, I want to thank you for being here. And it's just been a blessing to me. I've wanted to meet you. I want to meet Jeff. I want to get him on the show. I want to hear from him. I want to hear what he says, because I mean, he's the leader he is the leader, right, of Broken Chains. He is.
Yes.
He is
the founder and national director.
Okay. And this Recovery Alive, I'm really interested in that. I want to find out more about that. Okay.
All right.
If you get a chance and you happen to see where one of these podcasts was aired and you see the recording, go ahead and throw in the comments contacts that people can contact.
Sure.
And I'll throw in there some things as I see it. Okay. Hey, audience. Man, we're thankful you were here today. We hope someone got something out of this. I don't see how they didn't. I got something out of it. And we thank you for being here. We'll be back again next Saturday at 3 o'clock Central Time. Freedom from Struggle at Red's Round Table on Saturday afternoon. Like I said, 3 Central, MBR. Okay, Military Broadcast Radio. Check us out.
That's the show for today, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with an all-new show. And remember, you can listen to us again and again. The podcast of this radio show is available right after we go off the air tonight, anywhere that you can get your podcast episodes. And thanks for joining us today. I'd like to take a moment to talk about something close to my heart. Military Broadcast Radio is doing incredible work to support our veterans and bring their voices to the world. They rely on your generous donations and your dedicated volunteer hours to make it happen. I encourage you to consider supporting NVR in any way, form that you can. Use this QR code that's attached to the picture, or you can go to our website at mbradio.us. That's Mike Bravo Radio.us to learn more about how you can donate or volunteer even just an hour a week from your home. Help make a difference in the lives of our veterans, because once again, we're all here for you and not for us. We're giving our veterans a voice.